This story is based on the real experience of Alex and his journey at night. Let's start the story. Alex decided to take a walk one night, hoping to clear their mind after a long day. As they strolled through the dimly lit streets, they couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Shadows danced in the corners of their vision, and the air felt heavy with an eerie silence. Suddenly, they heard footsteps echoing behind them, quickening with each passing moment. Heart pounding, Alex picked up their pace, only to find themselves turning onto a deserted alleyway. In the darkness, they saw a figure emerging, shrouded in darkness and moving unnaturally. Frozen with fear, Alex could only watch as the figure drew closer, its features distorted and grotesque. With a chilling whisper, it spoke their name, sending shivers down Alex's spine. Terrified, they turned and ran, the sound of laughter echoing behind them as they fled into the night, never daring to look back. To this day, Alex still wonders what lurks in the shadows, haunting the streets after dark. As Alex continued to run, their footsteps echoed through the deserted streets, the sound amplifying their terror. Every shadow seemed to reach out for them, threatening to ensnare them in its grasp. They finally reached the safety of their home, but the sense of dread lingered like a dark cloud. Sleep eluded them that night, as the memory of the haunting figure replayed in their mind, each time more vivid and menacing. In the days that followed, strange occurrences plagued Alex's life. Objects moved on their own, whispers echoed through empty rooms, and a feeling of being watched never left their side. Desperate for answers, Alex delved into the history of their neighborhood, only to uncover a dark past filled with unspeakable horrors. It seemed that the figure that had stalked them that fateful night was not alone, but part of something much more sinister. Haunted by nightmares and the constant feeling of being followed, Alex's once peaceful life descended into a nightmare from which there seemed to be no escape. They could only pray that daylight would bring relief from the terrors that lurked in the shadows of the night. As Alex's nights became increasingly restless, they sought solace in the company of friends and family during the day. Yet, even in the brightness of daylight, a lingering sense of unease persisted, as if the darkness of the night had seeped into their very being. One evening, as Alex sat alone in their dimly lit living room, a cold breeze swept through the room, extinguishing the flickering candles scattered around. In the darkness, a voice whispered their name, sending a chill down their spine. Suddenly, the room was filled with a cacophony of disembodied voices, each one more menacing than the last. Shadows danced on the walls, taking on grotesque forms that seemed to reach out for Alex, threatening to pull them into the abyss. With trembling hands, Alex reached for their phone, desperate for a lifeline to the outside world. But as they dialed for help, the phone slipped from their grasp, falling to the ground with a resounding thud. In the deafening silence that followed, a figure emerged from the shadows, its eyes gleaming with malice. With a haunting laugh, it spoke of ancient curses and forgotten sins, weaving a tale of darkness and despair that chilled Alex to the bone. With every fiber of their being, Alex fought against the suffocating grip of fear, mustering the courage to confront the entity that had invaded their home. With a final cry of defiance, they banished the darkness from their midst, its malevolent presence dissipating like smoke in the wind. Though the scars of that night would never fully heal, Alex emerged from the ordeal with a newfound strength, knowing that even in the darkest of times, the light of hope would always provide.